or I'm not remembering that part. So, gratitude towards Babaji and their family for giving us this darshan. And now we continue from where we left off yesterday. Okay.
Yeah, any particular experience you would like to share?
It was eye-opening in the sense that I always had this confusion of how the Jeevan was, I mean, described. We always talk about the 4.5 kriyas, so that was the confusing part. But a lot of clarity, indeed, a lot of bonding, sharing, and new pathways were made with new friends, and I think it was a very good all in all occasion. I think it's worth going to these kind of things again and again, because you sort of gain, how shall I say it, you gain confidence in that phase of transition, that you always feeling that you are alone in the darshan, or you feel that the darshan is not progressing that much. But when you visit this kind of places and you see that there are some 50, 60, 70 people, all focused on learning this darshan, all focused on understanding it, then trying to live it in their own ways, their hurdles or their burdens that they have overcome, all these kind of things is a very good inspiration. Just reading the book on its own or secluded is not the I think the best way. And then and all these kind of shivers are a great addition to the, I think, the livelihoods of ourselves, of our being. So that is what I think. Other than that, very fulfilling. Yes.
Wonderful.
है ना? बढ़िया. Okay, so I will just read a paragraph before. We had read this already yesterday, but still. The tradition can only be successful when it is based on understanding, where humans live with humaneness. So, yesterday we had discussed how uh, something can be understood with humaneness, and then that is called the tradition. Until now, we have no such tradition that has been established in the form that all the idealism has brought is particular individuals. But when we see down their lineage, there is no tradition that has been uh, fulfilled, or there is no continuation of their enlightenment, or what they call is enlightenment. So that is one thing, and where humans live in humaneness. So this is another thing. Maybe at that time, in that era, they had this one human being who was giving guidance, and then they were living in humaneness. But then the tradition is not there, so it is lost. So in fact, in this line also, it's said somewhere. In fact, the line before it is saying, anything that cannot be integrated into tradition is of no value. So, this is a very important line that we also read yesterday. Whatever we do, be it how much we have gained in fame or in wealth or in whatever it is, if there is no tradition of it, then it is basically of no value. So, I'm reminded of mm, that phrase. It was said by one saint that you should let go of 1 crore tasks, but you should focus on one task, and that is of salvation. Even if you achieve success in those 1 crore tasks, and you fail in salvation, then what have you done? What have you achieved? So basically, the word salvation in that was that in the idealistic way of understanding it. But I would actually just give a new meaning to it, that salvation is basically knowledge, basically understanding. When we have understood, then we are now the beacons of hope. We are the people who are going to be in line with orderliness, and that truly is the need of all human beings in today's day and age. है ना? The tradition of understanding can be established through education. So again, yesterday also we looked through this, that how education plays a vital and pivotal role in this. And tradition of right living comes about by way of family, society, and systems. So we saw that how the family is the basic and the fundamental, and once that is in orderliness through education, through knowledge transfer, we will see that the society is in orderliness, and the system altogether, the whole, all the systems which are there to sustain the humaneness is also, those systems are also in orderliness. I too discovered my way of living on the basis of understanding. Living based on understanding must entail resolution and orderliness. So now here the last line is saying, when we are living with understanding, that in itself will entail to resolution and orderliness. So this is as simple as that. We are always reminded of how words like understanding go in hand with resolution and orderliness. This is, I think, we discussed also yesterday that Babaji is trying to tell us that there's nothing more important than understanding. You know. So I will just add today's now the new reading. Humans don't become social without evidencing justice. Without justice, humans form sects that are rife with arguments and disputes. In such sects, revolts, rebellions, conflicts, and wars inevitably occur. Okay, so this is again a very crucial paragraph. It says that humans don't become social without evidencing justice. So here, justice means nyaya, basically between humans, and that means that both the parties or both the people are coming to a conclusion based on existence purpose. So like, if most probably whatever is the conflict is related with some vastu, like there is some entity which is being there, and there's a conflict based or focused on that. So if we look at existence as the whole, then both the persons who are in conflict will always have justice, because even if one person says, "Okay, this is supposed to be like this," then the other person will also agree, because the all in all, the existential point of view, there is only one answer which is correct. As we said before also, uh, गलती में अनेक और सही में एक. So many against the wrong and one against the right, or one with the right rather, and many with the wrong. So there is always many answers which are wrong, and there is only one answer which is right. So we are reminded of that here. Without justice, humans form sects. We can see that today also. In fact, there are sects, and there are clusters of even these terrorists, and we are also seeing that they are also having their own sort of groups, where they are forming those groups to obviously harm the others normal people. But the point is that they also form their sort of group, and they tackle and they take away the properties and all these kind of things in an orderly way, in an orderly fashion. They do these things, they attack the villages or some things like that. This is very common in most city countries which are not developed. There are some small wars that are happening in the border of Congo as we speak. Rwanda and their armies are also attacking. The Republic of Congo are also they have their own history, but yeah, this is all happening, you know. So this is the thing that we are trying to understand, that when we are not not in with justice, we will always form divisions like this. Yes, anybody else wants to share something? Okay, so I'll just continue. In such sects, revolts, rebellions, conflicts, and wars inevitably occur. That's very true. Right now, we can see that a lot of pockets of wars, conflicts, and battles are happening, um, simply because of non-justice. Given this prevalence of conflicts and exploitation, can we truly consider humans to be social? If we justify sectarian struggle, it could eventually lead every individual to resort to violence and war. Why then do we restrict that possibility? Therefore, we must reconsider our approach. So here it is arguing, like Babaji is almost saying to us, that how can we be called social, or as we call, how can we be more than animal, which are also territorial in that sense, which are also having conflict with their own species if somebody else enters their territory, so how can we be different from them? How can we call ourselves social, right? So if we justify sectarian struggle also, it could eventually lead every individual to resort to violence and war. So this was slightly approached in the, we can see this in the past American way of living, where there was so much liberty of individualism, that everybody had their own sort of way of thinking, and that is also still known as the woke. The woke struggle led to the woke people coming out, and basically these people are fighting against for any sort of thing that they feel is right, and they are fighting for that. And then the new government, the current government, came in and completely put a stop to that kind of struggle. And yeah, so just making ourselves aware that how everything, in fact, every individual, as here it said here, which can eventually lead to every individual to resort to violence and war. So that was almost happening before this current government came in America, and that we could see that actually, which with the woke movement. Why then do we restrict that possibility? Therefore, we must consider our approach. We must reconsider our approach, which is properly understand the prompts. Properly understanding this prompts us to reflect on our actions, as what we have done thus far has proven insufficient. So we have to reconsider everything here and reflect on our actions. That's what Babaji is saying here. Thinking is inherent nature of humans. Every individual can think and search. We must find satisfaction in our own search and also strive to be a source of satisfaction for others. So here we are encouraged to think and find the right answer, or the right, even if it is this book is, or this darshan is a proposal. Babaji keeps on hinting to us that look, we are supposed to think. This is just a guide. You can even find a better, a more conducive sentence, and you can add to this book. Sometimes, and I think somewhere Babaji has said at that extent that he has left it like almost like open source. You can feel that if there is something better, then you can add to it. There is nothing wrong with that. But first understand this darshan the way it is, and you will find that it is very, very conducive with existence itself, and hence it is very conducive to the nature of Jeevan. And that is what is all about this darshan is about, understanding of, right? So we must strive to be the source for satisfaction for others. This was another very interesting sentence that we also talked about in our Adyan Bindu in Monteria village. It was asked that what is the next step after doing the darshan, reading the darshan? What is the next step? So most of the time, it was argued that we will automatically um, start living in orderliness, and that automatically will come out as expressions of words, of actions, of all these things that will happen automatically. So, living in understanding and living in orderliness will become the automatic result of knowing. So, it's all about knowing. Many people who had done their first shivir, who had not read the books, actually they were also saying that okay, we have understood everything, let's start living that way. But no, it's the adyan is a very long process, long in the sense the curiosity of the person depends on it. And to some extent, a year of dedication towards darshan can bring about a lot of change within you. And then that becomes like a sort of a the ballooning effect, the overflowing effect comes about. And then you start telling this goodness of the darshan, the sweetness of the darshan. You strive to be the source of satisfaction for others also. So this is the point that also was mentioned in the Adyan Bindu there. Of course, it comes after understanding ourselves, and that takes, as I said, at least a year of dedication. है ना? So that is what was understood there. Any questions until now? Okay, so I will just read ahead.
Should I read, Bhaiya?
You can, okay, you can take over. Yes, yeah.
So wherever you feel you can explain the things, I will
Ah,
stop there.
okay, great.
What should be done to start from here? So in the previous paragraph, we have seen that there is a discussion about the mandation or importance of the justice, and what presently has been done instead of uh, be- doing justice and becoming social, the people have created sects, and in those sects they are living in a kind of not they are not uh, you can say they are not universal, rather they are restricted to a particular tradition, a particular dharm, a
Right,
particular religion.
right.
So now Babaji has given what should be done, how we can start further.
Mm,
So first, understanding should become accessible to all through education and sanskar. What need to adopt the art of living with understanding, which encompasses how we coexist with the earth, water, air, plants, animals, and humans. We cannot exclude any. We must live in harmony with all of these. So, when we are talking about justice, we have to live with all of these forms, that
mm,
is, earth, water, air, plants, and animals. Every human being inherently claims that they can realize and evaluate. This claim is natural, spontaneous zeal within human beings. No one accepts imposition. It is fundamental need of every human being. How did we end up expecting what we would emancipate everyone when the source of realization is inherently present in every human being? It is incredible that all of us have been keeping faith in such assurances. Now, we must consider whether to have faith in assurances or to rely on evidence. From my early days, my tendency has been to trust on the basis of evidence. So I was naturally encouraged by this approach. My search for evidence led me to reconsider. As a result, I am committed to presenting my findings to humankind. So instead of assurances, Babaji is saying about the evidence, how we can show the justice with all forms, how we can evidence that in our character. So that I think is the uh, gist of this particular paragraph. But
mm.
you can further explain, Bhaiya.
Yeah, I think he's put a rhetorical question here. He's saying from early days, my tendency, sorry, before that, he has put a question mark here. How did we end up expecting that we could emancipate everyone? मतलब सबका भला होगा. Emancipation basically means everybody attains the knowledge, right? So how did we even expect that we can do that when the source of realization is inherently present in every human being? तो कहीं पर दूसरी जगह से नहीं आएगा. द सोर्स ऑफ रियलाइजेशन इज इन एवरी ह्यूमन बीइंग. It's not when particular person can do it or a particular sect can do it or a particular god can do it. So this is what Babaji is saying, that every human being has to do it themselves, and the potential is in there with every human being, inside every human being. So it is incredible that all of us have been keeping faith in such assurances. Like even today, I was just amazed at how these people who call themselves as saints are giving assurances of next life betterment or next life karmic. They will have better karmas if they give them money or if they give them some sort of property or something is like that in their name right now. So this is still going on, and this is still assurances of this kind of things are still going on. So we can see in this science day and age also this is still happening, you know. So here Babaji is saying completely is different from moving away from faith and coming towards evidence. And he's rightly put it at the last sentence here. My search for evidence led me to reconsider. As a result, I'm committed to presenting my findings to humankind. So here he has found something and he is committed to giving this to humankind. But yeah, yes.
Hmm. Just as all 7 billion people on Earth are currently facing a dead end, you can imagine that I too found myself in a similar situation. I have also navigated through the clutter of modern education, sanskar, and rituals prevalent in the world. However, my acceptance remained neither with modern education nor with traditional idealistic sanskar. My faith could not stabilize in these. This became the basis and reason for my pursuit of absolute objectives. Unable to find faith in either modern education or idealistic tradition, I
Hmm.
was compelled to embark on an independent exploration.
Hmm. So again, to the viewers and everyone, and to us also, we are going to clarify this that here Babaji is saying there are only two possibilities on this planet, on this earth right now. Maybe a little bit of darshan is spreading, so we cannot exactly say this, but in retrospect, there are just two possibilities. One is idealism, and one is the modern education system. So he could not find faith, or he could not have faith for both of them, because both seem to be failing at some point. And as the paragraph earlier said, mankind is reaching the dead end, you know. The modern education system is just cooking up the planet. The idealistic tradition system is also giving faith and based without on evidence. So this is again, now the last sentence is saying, I was compelled to embark an independent exploration. So here he is talking about the third way of visualizing or seeing the whole picture. So it's completely, it's like every now and then we are reminded of how we have to see at a third perspective, if that is possible to see, because until now we see through the perspective of education or idealism. We have those glasses on, and we are keep on told that no, we have to take off those glasses and see it independently of this darshan on its own, right? So that's very important. Yes, Bhaiya. Maybe also if you want to add, you can add, Bhaiya. I'm just highlighting for
No,
further,
no,
but you can.
no. You have explained it beautifully. Babaji is what he is saying is that neither the modern education, that is the scientific approach, nor the old school, that is the idealistic tradition, are
Mm,
able to fully answer the questions of the life.
right.
And there were so many confusions. That is why he has done an independent exploration. So
Mm,
that is the beauty of the Madhyas Darshan.
mm,
Okay. Two significant events have occurred. First, I understood Jeevan, which inherently contains understanding. Second, I found a way of living with understanding. We operate in 4.5 activities on the basis of beliefs and faith. Faith means believing without knowing.
mm,
Trust means believing after knowing.
right.
The 10 activities of Jeevan become evident when living with trust. I evidence all 10 activities, and so can you.
Mm,
Humans must evidence coexistence. The atoms and molecules too exist in orderliness while recognizing one another. All the planets, celestial bodies, vegetation, and minerals are in orderliness, evidencing coexistence.
mm,
So,
yeah.
two significant events have occurred. Just we
Mm.
can
Ah,
rediscuss it.
Yeah.
First, I understood Jeevan, which inherently contains understanding.
Mm.
So it is the Jeevan which understands.
Mm.
Secondly, I found a way of living with understanding.
Mm.
So after understanding, it is living which is important.
Mm.
We operate in four and a half activities on the basis of belief and faith. If we live on belief system and faith system, then it means we are operating on four and a half activities, yeah,
Right.
which we
Right.
have already discussed. Like deliberation, we are doing half
Mm.
on the basis of pleasure, health, and profit.
Mm. Mm.
And here he has distinguished the difference between faith and trust. Faith means believing without
Mm.
knowing,
Yeah.
and trust means believing after knowing. This is very, very important.
Right.
So, trust is believing after knowing.
Yeah.
So, the 10 activities of Jeevan become evident when living with trust. I
Mm.
evidence all 10 activities, and so can you.
Mm.
The beautiful point is Baba is saying, if I
Mm.
can do, you can also do. He's
Mm.
not saying it is a difficult task and you
Right.
cannot do, but he's saying you can also do that.
Right. Right.
You humans must evidence coexistence. The
Mm.
atoms and molecules to exist in orderliness while
Mm.
recognizing one another. Are
Right.
the planets, celestial bodies, vegetation, and minerals are
Mm.
in orderliness, evidencing coexistence.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
I just want to mention here that when we are talking about beliefs and faiths, I remember when our time was with our grandfather, he used to have this a lot of faith for this Adarshvad, and I remember how they also were saying some things that were very mystical, like if something happens or if accidentally some prashchit has to be done. Prashchit is basically uh, how do we call it, penance of doing something by accident or something. Like for example, if you are driving and you accidentally hit a dog or something like that, then you have to do some sort of penance, so that now even this sort of thing was a very tight knit thing. Like you have to eat for a month only one meal or some things like that of penance is there. Basically you are not supposed to entertain your senses for a whole month, and then you will be cleared of that karma. Or there were also, I remember there were also some faiths that was given to these people or these individuals who were taking this doses from the saints. One of them was that if you give donations here, you will be crediting your account in the next life, or in the you will not be returning to the earth. You will be liberated from all the karmas. So this was always the trigger for the person who is from the young age. There are so many mistakes that we do in our lives, be it we do it because we want to gain some sort of popularity, or we want to gain some money, or anything like that. So we are always having this in Jeevan. The Jeevan is a pure thing, right? So it remembers anything ill that it has done, and the exploitation of this very clean nature of the Jeevan is being done by the saints or these wrong people who are giving the faith that when you give the good karma here, then you will next life you will not be getting the reincarnation and all those kind of things. So it is almost like milking a cow. If it is it's like treating a person who is Brahmit, you're treating him as like a cash cow. And who is doing that? The person who is also doing it is not giving such assurance, but he is just doing it out of Rakshas pravarti. I would actually label it just like that, because none of them are actually having a sort of resolution right now. What is being taught here, that trust means believing after knowing. So you are still living in a trustless environment in the right now. You are having faith that something will happen in the future and you will be liberated from that. So the whole life, there is no meaning of relationships. There is no meaning of, in fact, relationships are bonds and ties that you have to cut because they are old karmas. You have to get rid of them. This is how the relationships are being treated, or at least they were treated like that. And so there was no sort of family bonding, or no, there was no some coherent way of living which we could say that it was a good environment. So obviously this kind of things, they don't form the tradition, and then we can see the collapse of the family structures because of that. When the elder dies, then there's a lot of dispute that happens after that due to property and all these kind of things. Again, that was also accumulated because of fear and because of belief that the tomorrow is never going to be okay. When we with this darshan are assured of when we become with orderliness, then the nature is also going to sustain us, because until now the cycles of nature were also not known, and now we know the cycles of nature. We are also assured that we do need not have so much hoarding, so much having so much, because the cycles of nature are taking care of the Vyavastha is taking care of the food, shelter, and clothing. Anyways, you don't have to do so much for that. So again, it's very crystal clear how this kind of things is coming about. We are also reminded in the last sentence: all the planets, celestial bodies, vegetation, and minerals are in orderliness, evidencing coexistence. So this again always, of course, it was mentioned in the idealism, Karn Karn mein Bhagwan hai, this and that. But then, what do we do with that knowledge? How do we implement the this sentence in our daily lives? That was not taught, that was not clarified. We were almost taught to fear everything, and we were almost taught to uh, be in a sort of a mystic environment with everything. And yes, do not eat this, do not do that, and those kind of things. There was no do's, there were just don'ts. That's what I feel, at least with my understanding of my past 20 30 years with my surrounding. I always felt that we were almost like pressured to become something, and we were not having our own way of thinking freely. That is also what I feel, that it is there with some people today. But then, yes, we are finding the darshan is also completely different from that, right? But yeah, okay, so we can still maybe we can read a little bit more.
At,
Hmm.
at the fundamental level, all units are energized within themselves to evidence coexistence. This existence is a wonderful manifestation of being energized only. This existence is a wonderful manifestation of being energized only. All atomic particles, all atoms, and all molecules have an inherent orientation towards orderliness. This itself is the main inspiration for humans. In my view, every scholar, scientist, and layperson needs a coexistence mindset. It is only with this mindset that we can become humane. Anything short of humanness is not going to give rise to our splendor.
Hmm. Mhm. बहुत बढ़िया. So, humaneness is linked with our humanity's splendor. बहुत बढ़िया. Okay, so again, at the fundamental level, all units energized within themselves to evidence coexistence. Okay, we have understood that. Uh, this existence is a wonderful manifestation of being energized only. All atomic particles, all atoms, all molecules have an inherent orientation towards orderliness. So this again is slowly telling us that humans also need to have this sort of inherent orderliness, and that again with comes with tradition or with knowledge, and that's what we are also told here. This itself is the main inspiration for humans. Means what this means is that the atoms and molecules, that is the main inspiration for humans. In my view, every scholar, scientist, and layperson needs a coexistence mindset. So here he has also included not only just the persons who is educated in the traditional education system, but also the lay person, the ones who are not educated enough, yet they are farmers, yet there are mindsets, the people who are doing the work of the peon, or anyone who is a lay person. Basically, what is meaning here, everybody should have a coexistence mindset, so that they can also be participating in this existence with humaneness. I think that's what is basically the meaning of everybody, even the scientists and the lay person and the scholars, should have the coexistence mindset, है ना? तभी तो वो सब मानवता मानवीयता से व्यवहार या they will be enacting in that personification with humaneness, right? So that's what is important. And again, he has very beautifully concluded, humaneness is the splendor of the human. How can it be? Anything short of it will not create the splendor or the beauty of the human order. बढ़िया.
I think Babaji again and again
Mm.
is emphasizing when other three forms are in orderliness, the
Mm.
humans should also remain in orderliness.
Right,
Without becoming orderliness or without living with the coexistence, humans cannot think of its splendor. No?
right.
So
Yeah.
what the humanity or what the splendor of a human being is to
Mm.
live in the coexistence with all three forms, and rather all forms of the uh,
Mm. Yeah.
material kingdom and animal kingdom, plant kingdom, and also the human kingdom.
Right,
So
right.
this living in the coexistence again and again is being
Mm.
emphasized for the
Mm.
splendor of the human being.
Mm. Yeah, I think I want to explain one more point of view here, that I saw a very nice documentary where there are three things that need to be done when we want to talk about giving existing on other planetary systems. We are at today day and age that we want to come interstellar or interspace, where we want to live on other planets. So they were talking about, we need to create an atmosphere on Mars, then we need to create water, melt the water, and then make it again habitable there with the waters, melt the polar caps in that planet, and then again make the environment conducive for breathing. So that basically means that you have to grow the plants there. Now, if you look at all those three things, they are already happening on Earth, and now we want to like almost start from scratch, and for God knows why, because it's I think it's as Babaji said, even one whole planet is not enough for a Brahmit Manav. That means a delusional mind, a whole planet is not enough for him to consume or to exploit. So this is, we can see clearly that a lot of patience we are having with them. With them, I mean by the delusion mind. The delusion mind is now towards robotics, towards artificial intelligence, towards shooting robots there, which will work on their own day and night to create this sort of structures, environments, plants, artificial air, and all these things will happen, so that it can become habitable for humans. And what we have on Earth is all of these things are already here. So here we are trying to contemplate why such a big effort to do the wrong thing. In the sense, it is so much effort. I just saw this documentary. It takes 9 months for us to reach Mars, because there is only particular time that you can shoot the rocket, and then it lines with that the orbiter, the orbiter and then it at that time, and that time comes every 9 months. So now we are going to systems which are better. So we are going to do this again and again. Every 9 months we are going to shoot the rockets and go to the Mars and try to do the such an activity. And obviously this will take generations and generations the way we are going, because we don't have such sophisticated rockets also that we can take and fix the planet in a very easy sense. But we can do that definitely on Earth. We can all come in orderliness, as here is being described in the darshan. We can all live in harmony with the three orders, and we can actually reverse the things that have happened, and make this same planet, which already has the atmosphere, which already has the water bodies, which already has the plants and vegetation for the oxygen. So this is very important to understand that where we are, you know, going and what we are trying to do is completely because that some people have the money to think like this. They think that that money can be used that way and they can live on another planet differently, away from the crowd or whatever the reason they have. They are doing it, and let's see what happens, because ultimately it's about it's a long process. These things don't happen. Millions of years have taken, for the planet, for the Earth to itself to become in balance. Now we're talking about doing it for Mars. Let's see. You know. Yes.
It is a
So.
very strange. Humans think
Ah.
when they have the condition which are livable on this earth, they
Mm,
don't want to live in the harmony.
right.
Rather, they are trying to find harmony somewhere else.
Mm, mm.
So this is
I
again,
I
yes.
think they if they're settled down and taught this about this darshan, I think they will change their mind, because until now they are seeing that, look, we cannot kill the people who are doing the wrong things. We cannot kill the delusion mind, because there are a
Mm,
lot of people who are delusion right now. So what do we do? We let's just leave the planet and we go ourselves into another place. So I think, see, they are not wrong in that sense also. They cannot stop the people who are doing the wrong in the planet. They cannot stop the deforestation. They cannot stop the fossil fuels from being burned. They cannot stop the cities from being developed. They cannot stop the coal plants from running, because India is a developing nation. It needs the cheapest energy source, and then we have come from coal to now we are going towards solar. But still, it is a very the cheapest source of energy is coal, and we have a lot of it. In fact, we have a very big stock house for that. I mean, I'm saying it's stockhouse, but it's not for the purpose of burning, but for the purpose of keeping the planet and the continent at a temperature which is inhabitable. So that is why the coal is there. That is why every country has the coal. That is basically the dead vegetation that has been covered up, and it has its own purpose, which is to maintain the temperature during the night times. So yeah, but still, I mean, the only way that we are seeing it is that I mean, they are seeing it as that they should leave this planet and we should just come out of the problems like that. So yeah, I mean, if they find the darshan, they would spend that same money educating the masses, and I think that's what's going to be the real change. And this was discussed in the then when we went there also, that there are less people who are educated in the right sense. So that is the biggest darshan's biggest flaw in the sense, the need. I mean, I'm talking about, there is such a big need of educators, of teachers, of parents, all these people who are resolved, who are at least doing the adhyan. And that is the biggest challenge right now, that we as a person, or people who are doing the adhyan, is that there are not enough of us, and we need to like literally uh, make as many replicas of people who will read the Babaji's darshan, because if we don't do it on time, then everybody, I mean, from long ago, India has been looked upon as the source for answers when it comes to spirituality. Now, the true spirituality, I think, in today's day and age, is this darshan, because it completely uh, touches on every aspect of existence. And I think that is the truest way of saying that, oh, this is a spiritual uh, 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 a manifestation of a darshan, which is the latest, and which has the answers for everything, right? From population control to energy exploitation, all these problems that we have right now, darshan has the answer. Simple thing like even population, we are seeing that it is being naturally being going down. But what darshan is saying about when to get married, who to get married with, these kind of answers are there. And in today's youth and age, where the people are not able to get convinced to have a partner, darshan is giving a light to that also. It is touching on that. If I'm not mistaken, it says that you become knowledgeable enough And when you are knowledgeable enough, now you are declaring to another person that I am knowledgeable and I would like to spend my life with another knowledgeable person. And that's how the two people will meet. And that's how they will create a parampara, a tradition. And that's how they will have the tradition of righteousness, of coexistence, of harmony, and that they will bring forth a family. So this is the kind of things and answers that we are getting from darshan also. So very important this darshan is, and very important also it is to understand for us also in the right time. uh, Me and Shalini were also having this discussion with what is important, to save the planet or to do adhyan and make ourselves aware. So we concluded that even if we save the planet by growing the trees or whatever it is, we stop we stop fossil fuel cars and use electric cars, whatever. But at the end of the day, we are so many people, right? We are limited in our numbers. But when we do the adhyan, when we are clarified, when we share the thoughts with other people, they see our actions, they see our evidencing in the real life, then that is much more a change and a trend setter than saving the planet with your bare hands. I think that's a important thing to say right now. But yeah.
This is very important aspect you have told.
Mm. Yes, we.
But what I have observed
Mm.
in some of the groups, people join initially, but then they leave.
Right.
Especially those who are older one.
Mm.
The reason being they are in the clutches of traditions and in the clutches of
Right.
idealism. They
Right.
find it very difficult to come out of it.
Mm.
It's very rare. A few people come
Mm.
out, they want to learn more, they want to understand more.
Mm.
Otherwise, the people are happy with the traditions, the
Right.
people are happy with the idealism. This is my observation, Bhaiya.
Mm. Mm.
You have your own experience.
Yeah, I had this recent experience, just recently, in fact. There was this old grandmother, and she was almost arguing to go back to the village. And when she goes back to the village, she is always, of course, because of the age, she's not able to sustain herself nicely. So I was seeing how the son and the mother are having this argument, where the son is trying to say to the mother, the grandmother, to the small kids, but basically through her own mother, that if I leave you to the village, then you will not be able to sustain yourself. You will not be able to survive properly with your own age factor. But then she kept on saying that, and then we asked her why does she want to go to the village? You know, if they have a house in the city, why does she want to live alone in the village? And then she argued that my Thakurji, means the idols which are there, are not being given the food. That means basically that she must be preparing the food and then offering to the idols there. So they are they are starving in the house which is closed basically. So that is why she wants to return to that house. Now imagine this is the sort of mindset at the, I mean, I'm not saying it is the lowest level, but it's just this mindset is there, that there is something, it is not being given food, so I need to go back and go give it food. I will leave my relationships behind, I'll leave my son behind, I'll leave my comforts behind, just to live and feed the idol which is there of God or statue of God or whatever that might have there.
If the reason could have been that I have to look after my animals or the agriculture, then that one can understand. No?
Right,
So
right.
these are the reasons that someone wants to stay in the village.
Mm.
But the reason being given is because of the effect of the idealism. It
Mm.
is in the blood, it is
Yeah,
in everywhere, and people are not ready to leave this idea
right.
unless they understand the concept thoroughly,
Mm. Mm.
how the things work, how the existence works, and what is
Mm.
coexistence. So once a person understands, then
Right.
I think it's very difficult to leave this
Yeah.
concept. Then it
Yeah.
is difficult.
Yeah. I think because since the previous generation are also holding a lot of wealth, this has been always been the incentive of the Rakshas Manav to go out, tell the stories, get the most amount of money, make it lucrative and almost like a business where you are just putting some sort of, just calling कि यहाँ पर ऐसे इस टाइम पे कथा होगी, people come there because of their beliefs, as we were discussing there, without any evidence. They have their beliefs, they have their faiths. They come there, they just have blindly believe these things, and then these people are actually exploiting this situation. So uh, too many things are going wrong. I mean, even the old tradition, the wealth should have been given away at the right time, because the wealth is with the idealistic mindset, or the people who are practicing idealistic mindset. A lot of chaos is happening because they are at a vulnerable stage right now. The person who is earning the money, he's out there towards his office or whatever it is. They are not knowing what is being done behind the brainwashing which is happening through the televisions or through the reels or WhatsApp messages are coming in and all those things. So these people are literally exploiting the wealth of the previous generation and putting it towards their wrongdoings, and then creating their ashrams and creating their all this nonsense, which is actually never going to suffice to the justification of bringing about clarity for the Jeevan. I mean, when we talk of the ultimate result, we will talk of Jeevan's elevation or Jeevan's um, Jagriti, right? Jivan's evolution. If that is not happening, then whatever you're creating, the buildings and all those things, is worthless. It is no point to it. But unfortunately, that is what is happening today because of the situation of what is a lot of wealth is being diverted like that to the wrong things. But yes, this is the things that is truth right now. I'm speaking
Anything
of.
else?
Hmm.
Yes, yes, Vidya. Anything
I'm.
else you observed during your
Uh,
Shivir, Adyan Shivir?
uh, I saw a lot of youth, and I saw also a lot of old people there. That was very comforting. Um, a lot of people from Gujarat were there. A lot of people from Mumbai were there. A lot of clarifications by Rakesh Bhaiya were there. Were done there. Sessions in the afternoon were taken by Rakesh Bhaiya. So a lot of utsaha and a lot of clarity has happened within me. And I think Manav Vyavahar Darshan is the one which we are supposed to read. And they are going to hold another session, I think, in June or July. Maybe I'm mistaking it, but it's in July maybe. So that's when they're going to hold the next session in Monteria. So yeah, a lot of being a self critique and being self disciplined was realized that we really need to pull up our socks as a person who is doing the admin, because all the answers are in a darshan, and the darshan itself can only be uh, I mean, expressed with a human being. It cannot be expressed through a book. You cannot give this book to somebody and then expect them to understand it. This goes through human, and only a human can transfer this uh, effectively. Basically, a human who is practicing it, or who has lived it, who is learning it, can only transfer it to a person who is curious. So the minds that are there, they are curious minds out there. We need to be ready for them. We need to be ready for the answers, with the answers, and that also becomes with clarity within ourselves. So that definitely has happened. The clarity has to happen within ourselves, and that I took back from that seminars that we had there. And, mm.
Yeah, earlier you wrote that we will restart it from 2nd April. I
Yeah,
think that could be the reason that we are finding less people. So they may
yeah.
still be thinking it will start from 2nd, although you have
uh,
mentioned in the group,
uh.
but still that could be the reason.
No, no, I'm very fine with this. Every time I see that, yesterday Neelam Babi was there also. She knows. Uh, be it whatever the reason, I think the clarification or the clarity, it takes a lot of calmness, and I'm sure that people, even you were busy yesterday. I understood. That's why I'm saying that everybody is doing the best. Yesterday I mentioned this. Everybody is doing the best that they are. That they are equipped with. So if you have an equipped mindset of that this is the right thing to do, then everybody is doing to the level best. Even the delusional mind out there, he is doing to the best because he knows priya hit labh only, right? So that's what he's doing. He's accumulating, he's doing injustice with environment, blah blah blah, xyz. But then towards him, he has found the bodies to be the only thing, and towards him, he sees that this life is the only life, and let me accumulate whatever I can, and let me leave behind for my family. So he's doing perfectly well for what he's knowing. If we increase now the level of where he's supposed to see from, like if we give him a bird's eye view, that's when he will start seeing the more better perspective and more better and better perspectives like that. So ultimately it's about, this thing only, we have to be clarified with ourselves. And yeah, yeah, what else can I say? I don't think we should go ahead because this is again, time is also nearly up. But yes, we'll expect people to join from tomorrow definitely. These are there on online also, so they may can maybe they can, if they are into it, they can just read through it. I hope they read through it. But yeah, we'll maybe revise a little bit from that what we had learned till now. But it's, I think it's very easy that coexistence is with the three orders. That's what we understood with this now, and the humans need to take the 2 cents from it and then actually evolve accordingly towards the right way of orderliness and right way of living. So बढ़िया है ना? ठीक है, चलो
ठीक
फिर
है।
मिलते हैं कल, है ना?
ठीक